Good evening, Gills fans. Welcome back to another episode of Gills in the Blood TV. Myself and Boz, another weekly roundup, and then we look ahead to Saturday. Fleetwood at home. Should be a good game. And also, the small matter, we have to do the draw tonight live on air. These two tickets in the Raider end are up for grabs for Saturday's fixture. We'll get to that shortly. It's been a nice, quiet week.
Quite a pleasant week. Positive, I'd say.
No off-the-field activities to discuss. No suspensions to discuss.
No.
No injuries to discuss. Should we stop now? Yeah, it's been quite nice. It's been a week of just reflecting on a very good performance last Saturday, especially second half, and looking forward to this Saturday.
Yeah.
Which we've not done for a while. We don't usually sit here and go, "Ah, that was a good performance. I can't wait for next week," because we've not won enough football matches. But second half was very, very impressive, which I touched on the Monday review. Scored 4 very good goals. Could have been plenty more. And obviously this fella on the back page of the Medway Messenger today, Mr. Eaves, was amongst the goals. Eaves' goals can lift Gills. Could have had 5.
Easily.
We could have been talking about another Robert Taylor type afternoon from all them years ago. February '99, I think it was, at Turf Moor when he scored 5. I think Elliot List alludes to it because he writes for the Shouting Men inside the paper and said he missed the easy ones and scored all the harder ones,
yeah.
didn't he? The penalty, Tom Eaves come out on Monday and said was awful. Can't disagree. The one where he slipped and managed to hit the bar from about 5 yards with the keeper the wrong side of the goal weren't great.
I think that was the one List was laughing at him, wasn't it?
And the header that he missed from closer in than the one that he actually scored. So we could easily have had 5. We could have had 7. And I don't think that would have flattered Bradford at all second half. They were absolutely shocking. I noticed their managers come out and apologised. There just wasn't anything from David Hopkin on the touchline, was there? It was all very reactive, and there was a very clear lack of inspiration. I think he's out of his depth. I know it's only one game that we've seen, but they're obviously bottom for a reason. And they shouldn't be bottom with that playing staff.
No, but going on that performance last week, they probably should be.
Yeah, of course. No, but what I mean, yeah, obviously if they're not playing well, so there's obviously a reason rather than just the players they brought in. Because like we said about last week, didn't we, before we went to the match, we said like Jack Payne, Sean Scannell, Yohan Doyle, there's a couple of others, Akpan, who was absolutely awful.
Yeah.
They're all top half League One or bottom half Championship players. So, I mean, Doyle was scoring goals for Preston a couple of seasons ago.
Jack Payne loves this league usually, doesn't he?
Yep. So it's an interesting one. But obviously for me, it's something that's more behind the scenes and a coaching issue as well. But enough about them. Tom Eaves, as I've just said, Eaves' goals can lift Gills. Quote from Steve Lovell: "Tom has been great and improved this year. With his hold-up play, his heading, his movement, everything about his game has improved. If he ends up with 25 goals this year, then brilliant for him. And if he does that, it has helped us." Eaves, who has scored a third of Gillingham's goals under Steve Lovell. That's a mental stat for me. 33% of the goals scored have all been by one man. Signed a 2-year deal when he's joined 18 months ago from Yeovil, and a new contract could be in the offing if he continues his impressive form. And I think it was alluded today into the press conference. It'd be great if we can get him tied down, wouldn't it? Because obviously January comes and he can start talking who he likes. And the risk is if someone comes in and says, "Here's a nominal fee, can we have him now?" rather than in the summer, keep it in for the last 4 months of the season. If he does go, could be the difference between mid-table or looking over our shoulder. Yeah. So for me, it's got to be a massive priority.
I think now he's earned it as well. I think last season, I know a few people in the summer were saying he might just be on in one season players, but he's carried it on. Yeah,
and I've just looked at his stats. First 15 league games last season, he scored 7, but he'd started 14 of them. First 15 appearances this season, he scored 9, so he's got 2 more goals. 3 less starts. He's only started 11 of them 15, and I think 3 of his goals have come from the bench, haven't they? He got 2 at home to Burton when he come on early doors for Dean Parrott, and I think he got 1 at Shrewsbury from the bench as well. There might be 1 more, but I'm not sure. But he's well on track for 20 this season, isn't he? I mean, he needs 1 more before Christmas to be halfway, at the halfway stage, effectively. He could invariably, if he carries on like this for the next couple of weeks, be on 15 by Christmas, at least, which would be brilliant for us. Will he stay? What do you think?
I'd like to think so. I know there's been talk over social media that he's a very northern boy, isn't he? He may want to move back up at some stage, but I think at the moment he's one of them players, quite similar to Cody, where us aside, he's not really hit heights anywhere else. So maybe for him it would make sense to stay here for a bit longer.
Loved by the fans. Yeah. Scores plenty of goals. Exactly, it's all set up from here at the moment.
He knows here he's the main man. If he was to go to a championship club,
he is at the moment,
himself,
definitely.
But, you know,
Or even if you went at a higher end League One club, you suddenly might not get so many games and might struggle. And like you said, some clubs just fit for some players. Not just Cody, John Marquis when he came to us. He hadn't scored goals in his career before then. All right, he's gone on to Doncaster and he's probably found a club that's fitted him better because he's been outstanding there. But yeah, he's been superb ever since he arrived, hasn't he? And I don't think anyone can level at him that he's a one-season wonder.
You give him that 2-year deal again and just say, there's a release clause in there. No, if a Championship club comes in, that's what we'll take. Yeah,
and that would take him up to 29, and then he'd probably only need one more big contract, and that'd see him through right to the end of his career. But I don't think he's even in his peak years yet, is he? Maybe he's one of them late starters in terms of flourishing, which would be great for us, and I think it has to be the number one priority is getting him sorted out as soon as possible. I spoke Monday about an individual. He's coming up on your screen now. That is Darren Oldacre, who was very impressive last Saturday. I spoke about it in the Monday review and how good he was. I think he's been really honest in the paper today. He's come out, DJ playing a different tune is the headline. I have matured, he said. I was a bit of a showboater before. I just did what I wanted to do. I did what I fancied and I didn't do anything for the team. I never did anything off the ball. I was actually a bit lazy, but I've matured and now know what I have to do. Fair play for coming out and saying that. He's only 19 still. His last league start was under Edinburgh and he was 17 years old. I thought he was early 20s now, so he's still a kid. He's only going to get better. We've said however many times, he's got all the tools, he's got all the ability in the world. There was just always a question mark about the attitude and what was going on in his head. It seems he sorted that out. And fair play to him coming out and saying that as well, and being honest enough to admit that maybe he wasn't doing everything quite correctly. Does this come off the back of what did happen last week in terms of Steve Lovell giving everyone a rocket and some being told to go away? Maybe he's just thought, hang about, I've got away with one here, but I've just got to knuckle down even a bit more now. He goes on to say, you have to have both sides of the game, and I feel it is coming into my game a lot more and more naturally now. It has changed. At the start of the season, I wasn't in his, meaning Steve Lovell's plans, but I've worked hard to get into the team and hopefully I can stay there. And he ends up saying, it's a big 6 months ahead. I need to earn myself something. I need to show what I'm about and prove to people I am not a bad egg. I haven't got a bad attitude and hopefully I can turn some heads. Carries on anything like he did last Saturday and he'd be absolutely fine. I think he's another one that's out of contract because we only tend to give youngsters a year at a time. Left foot, right foot. He can play passes. He can pick a pass. He can lay it on a six-piece.
That's always good, was he wasn't playing always like the simple sideways balls, was it? There's a few between gaps and diagonals and they didn't all come off, but he was looking for the right areas.
He was being brave with it and he was trying to get something in the dangerous areas quickly and on the front foot. Yeah,
we don't have midfielders willing to play them passes.
And then most of the time he knew when to keep it simple and when to look for that almost Hollywood ball. He got caught a couple of times. We said that at the time and we got away with one because there was a goal from a corner that got disallowed. Steve Lovell talks about him as well and says what he showed on Saturday was what I have seen in training for the last 6 weeks. He is working hard, he is winning tackles and headers and getting around the pitch. He always wanted the ball. He gave it away a few times, but it didn't stop him from wanting to get it back, and so he is brave. He's a brave young man and a talented boy, and he has to push on now. That's just the start, and this is the key for me. It's only one game. That is what it is.
We shouldn't be getting too carried away just yet.
No, of course, he's got to go and do that now. If he goes and plays like that again Saturday against Fleetwood
he hadn't played
Tuesday.
A lot for, I think, the last season, and didn't he come on at Charlton and Lovell praised him? We didn't see him again.
I think he got 20 minutes, New Year's Day, when we was hanging on and digging in at 2-1, and they said, and a few people who went on social media said he was tracking back and winning tackles, but again, you can't just do it for 20 minutes, 45 minutes or an hour, the same as us. That's been our problem all season. We've looked really good at times, we've been almost unplayable in patches. But the other side is it where we've defended like Sunday League side, and that's costing us games. You've got to do it for 90 minutes. But for me, I think Steve Lovell's already said it. He definitely starts Saturday. But we'll get to that in a little while. But yeah, really promising. Has all the ability in the world, I think, and most Gills fans would agree with that. It's just whether he can keep his head sorted out, and if he does that, we could have one hell of a player on our hands.
The good thing is now, whereas before we've had a lot of egos at the club, I don't think we've got too many massive egos anymore that might lead some of these kids astray.
No, I mean, obviously we can go back to the few that were missing last Saturday and estimate and guess, but I don't want to talk about it too much because those that were there Saturday were brilliant. It is done. Steve Lovell's drawn a line under it. And that brings us nicely onto this. Steve Lovell offers olive branch. Josh Parker's back in training. Was he one of the 5? We're not sure. I don't know why I keep saying 5. One of the... There were 5, weren't there, that weren't there, so we weren't sure. Yeah. But is he? Was he one that was told to go away, but has now got his head down and knuckled down? Because there's a bit about Bradley Stevenson when he talks about DJ as well, saying that he's trained past a couple, so I wouldn't think it was him. There's obviously one that's gone out on loan today, who everyone's going to have as prime target for number 1. So then that only leaves one more, unfortunately, and that's Bradley Garmston, who's not been mentioned a lot this week, but we'll only see Saturday if he's back in the squad or what. It'd be a shame if it is him, because, as we both said last weekend, he doesn't come across as the type that would kick off, but maybe it is just purely down to not putting it in, and if he's not doing enough, then he's not in the squad, and rightly so. The thing with him at the moment
is he's got an ageing right back playing in this position, and effectively Conor Ogilvie, who
can play there as well, and we've got Aaron Simpson still there, yeah. So he could effectively be 4th choice if his head's not right and he's not putting the shift in on a training pitch. But yeah, like we say, it's done for me now. It's done for Steve Lovell.
It was a big deal last week, but we moved on.
Now, yeah, well, now we should just be looking forward to Saturday. The only other couple of bits is there's words of reassurance for Josh Reese. Just says that he needs to believe a bit more, Steve Lovell, that he is a league footballer. He's proved it in the National League. He scored lots of goals. He said, but it has been tricky trying to get him in the side because he come back from injury, and by that time we were pretty poor and in a horrendous run. So it might be that his former pick-up now, ours has, excuse me.
We have a lot of central midfielders, don't we? So if things aren't going well, there's going to be a lot of chopping and changing.
Yeah.
Because we have those options. It's not always a good thing, but that's natural, isn't it? If you're losing games...
That's probably the area where we're overloaded almost in terms of numbers, but it's no bad thing. You can't have enough good players. And the only other one to mention, it looks like Callum Riley will not be considered until fully fit, based on the fact that he's had plenty of niggly injuries. And him and Steve Lovell have both said that they know he's not at his best. He's been one that plenty of fans have picked out and said that he's dropped off from last season. So for me, while we've got everyone else available, now we've got Dean Parrott back, we've got Billy Bingham back, we've now got Darren Oldacre. Yeah, let's get him fit and then get him back in the side when he's good and ready and back to his best. And just a little bit of loan watch. Liam Nash, 2 in 2 for Concord Rangers, National League South.
Yeah.
So he came off the bench on his debut last Saturday and he scored in the week as well. So that's promising, because we sat here and spoke the other day, didn't we, and said, is it just a case that he's not good enough to play for us? Because even when he's had loan spells slightly higher up, he's struggled. 2 starts at Dulwich Hamlet would indicate that it's another coaching team that didn't rate him enough. But is it the ground running at Concord? I think it might help, because I didn't realise until I read today that it's Sammy Moore's their gaffer now, who used to be the Leatherhead boss, who had him last season on loan, which that's probably helped Nashy settle in a lot quicker. Like, that's where Billy Knott's skipper, isn't it, as well? So obviously he weren't there when Billy was at the club, but it's a familiar face in terms of the Gillingham link. So fair play to Nashy, 2 in 2.
That's all he can do. Is he's got to go out and score goals and say to Lovell, I can be...
I know where the back of the net is, and he might get a chance because of one player that's gone out on loan now till the end of middle of January. I think it's January 7th, which is Connor Wilkinson, who's gone to Dagenham and Redbridge in the National League. So he joins up with Peter Taylor, who actually brought him to the football club, I believe.
Yeah. They're struggling, though. They're 20th, I heard today.
They're really, really bad. I hope he goes there and gets games and scores goals. I've got nothing against the kid. His attitude doesn't seem to be right, and I'd say, unfortunately, he's probably prime suspect to be the number 1 that was on that list last week. He's one of them.
When I talk about egos, I think when you go off his social media, we might be totally wrong, but the impression he gives out to the public is he's a bit of a
that he's probably the one if there was,
But you know, players like that, and
probably just does the bare minimum to get by.
Better than he is.
Yeah.
And I think that attitude, it probably doesn't help the younger players, the likes of your Oldacres, your Stevensons, and maybe they'll flourish without him there.
And statistically, he scored 4 goals in about 50 games for us, and people who say he doesn't get a chance, I think he started 43% of his appearances and he's only scored 4 goals in all competitions. So a striker that's only got 4 goals in 50 appearances,
and he's out of contract,
doesn't help us a great deal, unfortunately. But fingers crossed he can go there and get his head sorted and get games and get goals, and maybe he'll come back in January a completely different person, a different player. And the final one was Ryan Huckle, who has gone to Dover for a month, teams up with Hesse and Darren Hare and Nicky Southall. I'd imagine that comes back on the back of Conor Essam announcing that he can't play anymore for Dover because they've gone full-time and gone to daytime training. So all the best to all of them as their continued loan spells go on. But now it is time to give away these 2 bad boys. There are about It's very professional. It's like the FA Cup draw, just on a slightly lower budget. There's about 50 names in there. All the people that tagged others and followed us on Instagram, retweeted on Twitter and subscribed to the channel. Drum roll. Boz, do the honours. Just one name. Ball number 12. Brackley Town will play. And the winner is...
It is.
Jake _ 190598. So well done to Jake. I shall send you a DM on Twitter to arrange meeting up on Saturday prior to the game so you can pick up the tickets, which are in the Rainham End, Block 4, row Q, seats 76 and 77. Well done, mate. We'll see you on the Matchday Live, maybe. Right, now on to the important business of Saturday afternoon, 3 PM, Medway Priestfield Stadium. We host Fleetwood, currently 10th in League One. They've started all right, haven't they?
Yeah, I
With
think
a new manager.
keep getting better, to be honest. I've got a fair few names there now.
He's done well there in terms of recruitment. I think he's used a lot of links in big clubs where he knows he's been, like the likes of Rangers and his Premier League history with Burnley, and he got Ched Evans in, didn't he? I mean, there's some names I've written. That's one, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Ryan Taylor from Newcastle, they played together, I think, a few years ago, so they're all bags of experience. Jason Holt from Rangers, that's 3 massive signings at this level.
They've got Louis Coyle as well from Leeds on loan again. He was really good last season. Yeah,
and they've got Conor McKennelly, who can't even get a game. He's only played 6 games this season. I think he's been injured, and then up top, they've got the likes of Paddy Madden, Ched Evans, Ashley Hunter.
Hunter's a very good player in these.
Madden and Evans have got 6 each. I think Hunter's got 3 in 16 and he's got more than that in assists, I believe, as well. So they're going to cause us problems. We're going to have to be at it defensively, I think, aren't we? But yeah, I think if... I mean, I only really follow one Fleetwood fan, I think, and that's Ben Natman, who does his cod vlogs and very enthusiastic. It's a decent little channel that he runs over there. Does a lot of charity work as well. So I know he's been very impressed with them this season so far. I think if you'd offered Fleetwood fans 10th after 15 games under a new management with a lot of new players, they'd have probably taken it. They're within touch of the playoffs, aren't they? So, in terms of form, last 6, they are. This is just last 6 in the league. They have taken 10 points from 18, which is 3 wins, a draw, and 2 defeats. Ours suddenly don't look too bad now. No. Last 6 is now 8 points from 18, which is 2 wins, 2 draws, and 2 defeats, and in there's 2 clean sheets. There is a 3-1 defeat to Plymouth as well.
The clean sheets as well were in the wins, weren't they? So
Portsmouth and Bradford, yeah. So the thing is,
the key there. If we don't concede,
and if we get in front again, isn't it? We've always been better under Steve Lovell. If we can get in front and manage the game, generally we win games when we've taken the lead. In terms of home and away, there's not a lot in it. Ours is not great. It's 4 from 18. But obviously we stopped a 7-game winless run at the Priestfield last weekend with that 4-0 thumping victory over Bradford. Theirs is only a point better. They have 1 win from their last 6 and a couple of draws to give them 5 points from 18. Their away form's odd. They've gone to Scunthorpe early in the season and won 5-0. They beat Doncaster 4-0 when they were flying. But then 4 of their last 6 haven't scored away. So I think it's going to be a case of what Gillingham turns up, which Fleetwood turns up as well, because if they get the first goal, I might fear for us. We could be on the end of a hammering. But if we keep them quiet, they've struggled in 4 of their last 6 to even hit the back of the net. So I think they're usually tight games, aren't they? Let's be honest with us. I think I looked the last 4 seasons or something. I think we've won 2 and we beat them last season, didn't we? Tom Eaves' last minute penalty, and the one that got given to Eaves, but we're pretty sure it was a Paddy Madden own goal. The season before under penalty, they beat us 3-2. That was the last home game of the season. The season before that, and under Edinburgh, we beat them 5-1. Rory Donnelly's magnificent chip. And I think the season before that, under Edinburgh, they beat us 1-0 at the Priestfield at the back end of the season. So it's 2 wins each in the last 4 at the Priestfield. So it indicates it's going to be quite a tight game. Team news, it's only Callum Riley that's missing according to everything that we've read. So that's promising. For me, the team picks itself. It's the same 11. It's got to be the same 11, especially with a week off as well. So it's just a bench. I've gone Thomas Hadler, Conor Ogilvie, Alex Lacey, Dean Parrott, Navid Nasseri, Elliot List, and the only one I've changed is I've taken Nolan Bow out and I've put Josh Parker back on the bench.
I think Parker will be back on the bench.
As good as Listy was, I thought Hanlon was brilliant for an hour again, so I think he deserves to keep his place. Yeah, really looking forward to it. We haven't said that a lot. this season. I can't wait for Saturday afternoon. Should be a really good game. It's that time. Mystic Meg time. Prediction. I've done mine. I've written it down.
As you said, the game is normally tight. I'm going to go 1-0 and I'll go Elliot Lister score coming off the bench.
Oh, I like that. Not too dissimilar. I have gone Gills 2-1. Tom Eaves keeps scoring. Scored 2 against them last season apparently. And I've also got Brandon Hanlon. Surely he's got to score a home goal sooner or later.
I think I said to you last week with Hanlon, he's only a couple of goals away from being a very good player.
And I think if he gets one at home, he could go on a run at home because both his goals are coming away fixtures, haven't they? Accrington and Shrewsbury. I think
he's given us a lot. He's just
everything at home apart from just hitting the back of the net. And he can't have come a lot closer. He's hit the post, the crossbar. Keeper's made a couple of good saves from him. Sunderland, he had one that rolled along the line, didn't it, when he hit the centre half. Yes. That's it, I think, from us today. As always, thanks for watching. Please keep doing all the usual. Comment down there. Please keep subscribing and encouraging others to do so. There will be a proper big giveaway when we get to 1,000. I don't know what it is yet, but I will tell you now because then it gives me plenty of time to try and plan it. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you know the drill. We're on all of them. And until next time on Saturday for Match Day Live, up the Gills.